So with the Pixel 4a, Google is most undoubtedly testing the very limits of our patience. Not content with merely pushing the launch back about a gajillion months, no one can actually buy this thing now until October the 1st. That's almost 2 freaking months from now. And if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that an awful lot can happen in just 2 months. I mean, by October, we might all find ourselves enslaved by giant brain-sucking Teletubbies from outer space. But assuming we all get lucky and the apocalypse doesn't happen in the intervening time, is the Google Pixel 4a actually worth hanging on for? Well, yes, it's really bloody good, although it may not be for everyone. Depending on your own personal priorities, you may be better off with a rival device like the OnePlus Nord. But I've been using the Google Pixel 4a as my full-time phone for the last week, and here's my in-depth review. And for more on the latest greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers. Now, yeah, at a quick glance, this new Google blower doesn't exactly scream excitement. In fact, compared with the Nord's vibrant marble blue coloration, this just black handset looks like a bit of a Debbie Downer. You don't even get that iconic two-tone finish around back anymore, which I actually rather liked. But the good news is that the Google Pixel 4a is proven rather rugged in the first week of use. That Gorilla Glass 3 screen has protected from any kind of scratches or scuffs or anything like that. And even though the back end is just made of plastic, so far that's holding up really nicely too. While rival placky phones like the Moto G 5G Plus got scratched up all too easily in just a few days, the Pixel 4a is still in great nick. And that's despite being nabbed every so often by a sugar-fueled 5-year-old with a notoriously bad track record when it comes to not dropping stuff. But the part of the design that really gets my pants moist is the super compact finish. At just 5.8 inches and with its respectably skinny bezels, the Pixel 4a offers some incredibly satisfying one-handed action, so to speak. In fact, this is definitely the best compact phone that I've reviewed in absolutely ages, and yes, also the only compact phone that I've reviewed in absolutely ages. And you even get a bit of extra one-handed help on here as well. So for instance, you can drag down that notifications bar from anywhere on the screen. You can even use the rear-mounted fingerprint sensor again to drag down that notifications bar. However, this feature is very sensitive indeed, and I did find I was constantly accidentally knocking that fingerprint sensor because the Pixel 4a is so dinky, so eventually I just knocked that feature off. To be honest, it's not even really necessary. Another benefit of the Pixel 4a over almost all of its rivals is the excellent software setup. You get the freshest Android 10 OS, of course, with at least 3 years of software and security updates for a proper bit of peace of mind. And you get almost all of the best Pixel 4 flagship features in this cheaper blower too, including the excellent Recorder app, which can transcribe audio for you, making it much easier to find specific bits later. And new safety features like that car crash detection tool are present and correct as well. And overall, I just love the stock Android vibe. And it's great to have a proper rear-mounted fingerprint sensor again as well, something that was weirdly culled from the flagship smartphone, although on the flip side here on the 4a, you don't get any face recognition support. Although that's obviously not so much of an issue in the current apocalyptic climate. But it is still a bit of a ball ache when your fingers are all sticky and covered in chicken goo or whatever from cooking. And like the Nord before it, Google has served up a pretty bloody good OLED screen here on the 4a as well for not much cash. Despite its sub 6-inch stature, the Pixel 4a is still good for streaming movies when you can't be asked to get out of bed. Those Full HD Plus visuals are super crisp, so every frame is packed with detail, where you get full HDR10 support in the likes of Netflix. And when you go full screen, that dinky selfie cam orifice isn't too intrusive, although there is no way of hiding it from view in the settings if you're not a fan. However, I have found that despite being an OLED panel, the Pixel 4a screen isn't the brightest around. It's absolutely fine for checking messages, browsing the web, outdoors, whatever. But if you're trying to kick back with a moody show like Umbrella Academy or try to do a bit of gaming outside, you might struggle to see exactly what's going on. And unlike most recent mid-range rivals, the Pixel 4a sticks to a basic 60Hz refresh rate, so you don't get that buttery smooth scrolling action. Certainly not an essential feature by any means, but after using so many 90Hz mobile phones all around the Pixel 4a's price point in recent times, it really makes it feel like the performance isn't quite as good here. And technically it's a stereo speaker setup here on the Pixel 4a, but let's face it, that top speaker is a bit of a wimp. It's absolutely fine if you're just using the Pixel to make a phone call or something, if indeed you ever use your smartphone to make phone calls. But when it comes to your movies, watching a bit of YouTube, stuff like that, it's definitely the bottom speaker that is pulling the bulk of the weight here. That is my only complaint on the audio front though, thankfully. You've got a proper headphone port here, like on a lot of mid-range mobiles, and music sounds amazing both through that and when connected via Bluetooth to a pair of headphones or some speakers. I had absolutely zero issues with connectivity, and support for the likes of LDAC means that your HD tracks really shine. Performance is provided by Qualcomm's Snapdragon 730G chipset, backed by a respectable 6 gigs of RAM. It is a shame that it's not the freshest 765 as found on most other mid-range rivals, but it has proven absolutely fine on the Pixel 4a for multitasking with 2 apps at once, which works better than expected despite that dinky display. And no worries at all for gamers out there. PubG played with reliable frame rates on the HD detail levels, while Call of Duty also stayed smooth on those higher detail levels, and the phone doesn't heat up to a troublesome degree even after lots of gaming action. Unfortunately, of course, because it's not the 765G, that means you don't get 5G support for a bit of extra future-proofing here on the Pixel 4a, something that again a lot of rivals like the OnePlus Nord and the Realme X50 5G do offer. Although Google has basically confirmed that a 5G version of the Pixel 4a will be launched later in 2020, again brain-sucking Teletubbies pending. And packed inside the Pixel 4a's slender frame is a 3140 mAh battery, which is rather dinky when compared with a lot of rivals, and yet it's still always easily lasted me a full day of use. Seriously, I used this thing as a sat-nav, I shot lots of 4K video, I did lots of Zoom calls on it, was using the camera non-stop, played lots of Call of Duty. Not once did I get to bed and have less than 10% battery life remaining, which was a massive relief, especially after the absolute dud that was the Pixel 4. And because it's a small battery and you got some fast charge support on there as well, it can power up pretty nippily too. And on the storage front, you've got 128 gigs built in, but as usual, no micro SD memory card support, which is actually becoming surprisingly common on recent mid-ranges, including that Nord and the Realme X50 5G. But you do at least get unlimited high-quality photo and video storage on Google Photos. So let's end with a squint at one of the Pixel phone family's true strengths, and I am of course talking about the camera tech. And yeah, sure, here on the mid-range handset, you don't get that secondary telephoto lens of the Pixel 4 flagship, but you still get that very nifty 12.2 megapixel primary lens with built-in optical image stabilization and dual pixel autofocus. So it's no shock at all that this is one of the best smartphone cameras that you'll find, definitely at this sort of price point, taking great looking snaps in pretty much any environment, even when the lighting sucks bums. In fact, you can separately adjust the brightness of those darker areas versus the overall picture using a separate handy slider, and this has seriously dramatic results in strong HDR situations, usually when you're trying to snap a pic of something against a bright sunny sky. It's definitely a step beyond the rest of the competition, especially thanks to the realistic colours and tones that you'll get in those final test shots. And Google's software smarts really shine on portrait shots as well. You don't get a depth sensor, not even needed, just great looking results every time, and a copy of the photo is also captured without that bokeh blur just in case. Sadly, no, there is no ultra-wide-angle mode here on the Pixel 4a, nor is there a telephoto shooter, as I said before, but to be fair, the latter is fairly rare still on phones around this sort of price point. If that's like an essential for you, you might want to check out the Sony Xperia 10 Mark II, something like that. And while you can punch into a shot up to 7 times for a closer view, things obviously start to get quite grainy once you do. Still, that night sight feature is definitely still one of the best low light camera modes around. Your shots will look brighter, sharper, and those colours are impressively natural too, even when things get proper dim. And yes, shock horror, Google has once again stuck the obligatory astrophotography mode here on the Pixel 4a, but I could never get it to work because guess what, here in the UK, you never have a clear sky at night, not even in July/August. But you know what, if you want to look at pictures of stars, just go check out the NASA website, they do a pretty good job of it. And video recording gets a big fat thumbs up from me too. You can shoot lovely looking 4K home movies which are absolutely packed with fine detail, and audio pickup is just as clean even when it's a bit gusty. Colour reproduction is accurate with only slight oversaturation in brighter conditions, and you can tweak the brightness as you shoot if you need to. Plus, moving and shooting is no big thing because the image stabilization is proper decent. And yeah, that 8 megapixel selfie cam may sound a bit pants, at least on paper, compared with a lot of rivals which offer 16 or even 32 megapixel efforts, but it's still perfectly fine at capturing fine detail. Not good news if your face is a wrinkly, saggy, tired old mess. And once again, it can cope with tricky lighting just fine, and there is a portrait mode to add that bokeh action on demand with reliable results. So that right there is my full final review of the Google Pixel 4a. So still got a bit of a wait if you fancy one. Is it going to be worth that wait? Well, if you want a compact handset with stock Android and a great camera, then definitely it is a fantastic option. It's definitely a shame that you don't get a 90Hz display, you don't get that 5G future-proofing of a lot of rivals as well, like the OnePlus Nord. The OnePlus Nord is definitely probably one of its strongest efforts right now, and if you've got the Realme X50 5G in your area and the Moto G 5G Plus, I definitely go recommend checking out my review reviews of those as well, because they are, again, fantastic mid-range mobiles. So that's what I think, but what do you think? Are you tempted to hang on for the Pixel 4a? It'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest tech, and have yourselves a lovely week. Cheers everyone, love you!